Okay, welcome to The Extra Point. I'm your host, Roland Rainey, CEO of R2 Sports Management, and welcome to episode 3 of The Extra Point. As usual, I'm joined by my colleagues today, football scouts, and let's go ahead and introduce these individuals. We got Justice Gordon coming out of New York. How are we doing today, Justice?
Great, man. We're live, man. I'm ready to get into it.
Good deal. Great to have you back here again. Out of Indiana, we got Jeremy Coleman. How are we doing today, Jeremy?
Doing good, Roland. Ready to talk football like always.
That's right. Talk football. That's what we do here as Scouts. And coming out of New Jersey, we got Robert Parker. How are we doing, Robert?
How you doing, Roland? Thanks for having me back. Ready to dive into the topics of the night. Thank you.
Hey, now that you said it, let's go ahead and do it. Let's dive into the topics of tonight. And we're going to start this one off because this has a lot of people perplexed, and I know a lot of fans out there are sitting there wondering what is really going on behind the scenes when it comes to Dak Prescott's contract. A lot of folks look at it and go, hey, that's a hell of a lot of money that he's getting, and what's the difference between 4 years and 5 years? And, of course, the latest news is that he went ahead and signed a tender today. So let's start with you, Jeremy. What do you think about Dak's recent signing?
Well, it's clear that he's betting on himself. This entire time has thought that ball's in his court, and by signing the franchise tender, he's effectively doing that. He's saying, I'm going to play this year on my $31 million contract, and I'm going to bet that I have such a great year that next year I'm either going to sign a much bigger contract with Dallas or without Dallas. So really the pressure is all in Dallas's court now because they could potentially be letting the franchise quarterback walk out of Dallas.
You feel the same way there, Justice?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it could be said any better. I think Jeremy hit it right at the point. I think Dallas is backed himself into a corner right now. I think the last thing they want to see is, the Lamars, the Mahomes, the Watson sign a deal before Dak, because if they do, Dak is going to be asking for a price tag above that. And, it's great to see Dak betting himself. I'm asking for the kid. And I'll tell you what, man, the Cowboys better get this done quick, or they
Shelling out money it is. So, hey, Rob, a little bit of insight on Dak's contract. A lot of people see the third. Of course, he signed the tag. So I think what a lot of people get confused about is how long does that mean? Does that mean he gets 31 this year? Does that mean he gets 31 over a variation of seasons? How about you give the fans a breakdown of what that looks like for Dak?
Well, rolling with Dak signing that franchise tender, pretty much he's putting himself in the Kirk Cousins position. He's betting on himself, and he's saying, hey, I'm going to get $31 million fully guaranteed this year, and if we can't, come to grips with another contract, whether it be a short-term contract like Dak wanted or a long-term contract like the Cowboys wanted, but it's going to be another team out there, just like Justice said, that's going to try to scoop Dak up because he is a franchise quarterback. And, he's putting up the numbers. He's almost threw for 5,000 yards last year, and he was only playing for $2 million. So he's getting $31 million this year compared to playing on a $2 million salary last year. So that number is a vast improvement by Dak signing that franchise tender, Roland.
And that's what it boils down to, folks. Oftentimes when you see players going back and forth with contracts, a lot of folks oftentimes think about, well, it's just the number. It's all about the dollars. There's a whole lot more to it. It's about what the salary cap is with the particular team, what they're carrying forward, what they can do in the interim. And, Robert, I'm glad you hit it right on the head. When you go back and look at Kirk Cousins' contract issue with the Washington Redskins, no matter what people think, there was nothing that could be done about that particular contract. you can do as many incentives in that contract as you want. You can spread it out over so many different years. The problem with Kirk Cousins is exactly what the Washington Redskins wanted from him. And because he would not do that, then they were put in a position where they only could sign that franchise tag. And the problem with that is when you're wanting a player long term, someone you can invest into, now the player in today's market is thinking, hey, I can probably play 4 years under a particular contract and then get out and go back out and test the market. Well, a lot of teams don't want that. But in Dak Prescott case, that really what it boils down to. The way the rules have changed, and quote me if I'm wrong here, Jeremy, the way the rules are in the NFL, players have, especially the quarterback position, there's a lot more longevity there. So what you have to do is put yourself in a predicament where you can capitalize on your personal worth and value as you get ready to enter the free agency market. What's your thoughts on that, Jeremy?
Well, it's definitely the mindset of a lot of young players nowadays. The days where guys stay with teams for their entire careers, honestly, that's kind of almost a bygone unless you are that franchise quarterback that's luckily enough to sign that big mega deal to stay with the team. But you've seen guys jump to other teams all the time now. It's one of the biggest reasons why I don't buy an NFL jersey anymore. I don't know if this player's going to be wearing that jersey every year or not. So you see a lot of these young players betting on themselves to try to put themselves and their family, they're also thinking about their family, put themselves and their family in the best situation for their future, not just a franchise's future.
Yeah, you hit some valid points there. And to the fans that are listening in right now, one of the biggest things that we can inform you is that it's mostly about the years. I think a lot of people see that big number and they think, oh, wow, that player is going to get X amount of money right out of the gate. And it doesn't necessarily work that way. It actually spans out over a particular time frame. And, it is one of those unique situations where you look at a player and you go, wow, that player is being very selfish. That's millions and millions of dollars that they're just bypassing. Well, it's really about longevity in the league, and you have to protect yourself and the actual longevity of your career. So, Robert, if you are, and I'm putting you in a very odd position right here, Robert, if you are Jerry Jones right now, and Dak and your Cowboys don't make the playoffs this upcoming season, what do you do?
That's a good question, Roland. But just like I said before, I think Dak, has all the leverage in this contract negotiation. And for a second, I'd just like to quote one of my favorite artists, Jay-Z. He said, "Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't." So let's go into Dak's numbers, and let's just look at this, Roland. Pretty much, Dak Prescott has 12 300-yard passing games. That's one behind Troy Aikman, Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, right? And then on top of that, Dak has 21 career rushing touchdowns. That's one more than Hall of Famer Roger Staubach. So therefore, Dak has all the leverage when it comes to the analytical statistics part of the game and playing quarterback. But I think Jerry Jones needs to go ahead and get that deal done sooner than later, because if not, and he lets Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, and Deshaun Watson reset the market, then the Cowboys are going to be shelling out a lot of money, just like Justin said earlier, or another team is going to get a great quarterback in Dak Prescott. And that's pretty much what it boils down to, Roland.
Hey, you threw something else in this big pot that we're talking about. A lot of folks seriously don't understand that when you start looking at other legitimate quarterbacks who are also negotiating their contracts, the market gets reset. So now if I'm an owner, I have to pay attention to that. If I'm a general manager, I have to pay attention to that. And I'm going to put myself in a predicament where the market gets reset so high that I have no negotiating ability with the exception of going back into my roster, reconfiguring some contracts just to get my quarterback the dollars that he really wants. And to your point about the numbers, a recent poll came out and a recent report came out stating that Dak Prescott was right now ranked number 4. But the numbers don't lie. His numbers are elite status numbers, so he's looking for an elite status contract. But there's a caveat to all of this. I think we are letting one little small factoid pass by us. And I refuse, here on the extra point, I refuse to let that happen. We are not going to let a fact pass by us. Now, if I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong. Go ahead and send me your questions and your remarks. But to my fellow colleagues, if I'm not mistaken, isn't Dak Prescott, did he just become the highest paid Cowboy ever?
That is right, Roland. With Dak signing that franchise tender, he has put himself as being the highest paid Cowboy in Dallas's history. And that's more money than Troy Aikman, more money than Emmitt Smith, more money than Michael Irvin, Larry Allen, et cetera, et cetera. But just like I said, the numbers don't lie. And he has the elite status number, and he's only growing. He won Rookie of the Year. He won a playoff game. So he's getting there. Maybe not soon as the Dallas fan base would like to have it, because of course, they're America's team. But I think Dak Prescott well deserves, being paid one of the highest players in Cowboys history, just on numbers alone, Roland.
I tell you, Robert, you have hit something that I think is just brain-boggling, right? Dak Prescott, ladies and gentlemen, is now the highest paid Cowboy in that franchise's history. What does that really say about the type of money that Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman that they were actually getting? I mean, were they getting peanuts on a dollar? I mean, what do you think there, Justice? What was happening there?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Peanuts on a dollar. I mean, the guys like Deion Sanders, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Larry Allen, these were phenomenal players, man, legends, football legends. And the fact that Dak Prescott is now the highest paid Cowboy ever, you can definitely look at, it's just a different era today. Especially when you look at a few years ago. Nick Foles, he gets, $80, $85, $90 million for what? Does he want a playoff game? I mean, actually getting paid more and more each year. They're resetting the markets, and legends like Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith, they play for peanuts, man.
So let's play a little game here. And hey, fans that are watching, play along. Send me your comments, and we'll entertain those comments. So, if you had to go back in history, and you know what part of history I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, the Big Moose in the backfield. I'm looking at that era. 3 Super Bowl wins. If you had to go back in time and give one of those players from that era the biggest contract, what would it be?
I'll go ahead and jump in on that. You got to give it to Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman, huh? Okay. Well, what's
yeah, he's the quarterback, man. And back in the day, I mean, a lot of those guys called their own plays. You don't see that a lot anymore. I mean, they did more back then with just as much talent as these guys are doing today.